So, Susana, there were quite a number of comments coming in, a couple just very kind of grateful for the overview that you provided, as well as hearing about the opportunities for agro-ecological approaches in R&D in Europe. So I think there was much appreciation for that, that overview. So thank you. One question is that you stressed the importance of making an impact on the ground for achieving the targets of climate neutral by 2050. What roles do you envision rural communities having in contributing to achieving that target?
Thank you for the comments, and also for the question. Indeed, of course, I mean, we think it's quite clear that okay, we have a lot of targets to achieve. Ambition is really high. We have overarching and global ambitions to accomplish, but we truly believe that at the same time, where we need to really accelerate the impact and the changes are at the more local or more regional level. And this is also something that resonates very nicely, I think, with the whole principle of agroecological approaches. They are really context specific, local specific, and I think this is also one of the values that agroecology has in terms of really accelerating impact on the ground. In terms of rural communities, of course, okay, we are talking about farmers, but we are talking, in the case of agroecology, it is indeed the way we want to see agroecology, at least from the research and innovation perspective. It is a scientific discipline. So it is really the discipline, the scientific discipline that is looking really at the how agriculture and ecosystem, ecological elements can be working better alongside. This is really something that needs a lot of research, but we also like to see other elements that other approaches about agroecology that can also contribute to achieving the targets that we have, because we have challenges not only at the environmental level or climate level, but we also have the social aspects. And I think agroecology, at least according to some understandings, can also provide a contribution in that regard. And that is where I see the link to the involvement of the rural communities. Well, at least in the case of the partnership on agroecology that we want to develop, we are really having or we would like to have an approach. Of course, this is all under development with because it's a co-founded partnership. It's being co-founded between the Commission and the member states and associated countries. So the vision that we will have there will have to be co-created together with them. But the ideas and the first discussions as we have had also with other stakeholders, that really we need to make sure that we have involvement of the rural communities, of the regions, of the local authorities. So really make sure that whatever we do is going to not only be useful for making agriculture more sustainable at the end of the day, but also to contribute to rural development in the end, and to more vibrant rural communities and greener rural communities. It is also one of the objectives that we have, and one of the impact areas actually that we have under Horizon Europe. The new work program will have a specific section with calls on that, and there is also a possibility to link with the potential that agroecology can bring there. But yeah, it is a concept that for us offers the opportunity to link to many other aspects beyond the contribution to climate, environmental, also social aspects, also keeping rural areas alive at the end of the day. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you for that perspective. Gerald, I just want to do a quick time check with you. We're just about a half an hour over. There is another question for Susana, so I could certainly pose that if you're willing, Susana, to have another question posed to you. And then we might move on to maybe, Gerald, have a think about whether you want to move to a short break and what our time scale might be.
Yeah, I think, thanks, Kate. I think another question would certainly be good and useful if Susana has time, then we should do that. That would be great. And then I think after that we take a short break.
Okay.
Yeah, a 15-minute break, and then yeah.
Okay. So Susana, the other question that that had come in is, so you reminded us of the limited number of kind of growing seasons that can make a contribution to reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. So if we think of the number of cycles that remain between now and our greenhouse gas emission targets, farming systems have a lot of dependencies. There will be lags in the uptake and the planning of agroecological practice before their implementation and subsequent benefits. So I guess the question is, you didn't refer to the monitoring of uptake and impacts of the set of eco schemes. So can you say anything more about that? I hope that wasn't too convoluted a question.
Well, I wanted to say that on the eco schemes, of course, I'm not directly involved in all the negotiations, unfortunately, because I think it's a passionate debate with the member states, but our unit is not responsible of doing that. But of course, we are aware that this eco schemes is really very relevant, because what we want to do always with research activities is really to support policy making and provide evidence base for policy. So this is key for us, that there is this eco scheme. In terms of monitoring and uptake of, I cannot really give you a very concrete answer. I suppose it is going to be done, and that is also where I think again the role that the UNISECO has, and really your results can guide, can also help in developing whatever is going to do in terms of monitoring and uptake, also at the member state level, because agroecology is also something that can be understood differently in different contexts. That's maybe another debate, but I think the results that you have had in UNISECO can be useful in that regard. Of course, what I was referring to, the targets and the growing seasons, we're not only referring to greenhouse gas reduction. Of course, the land sector and agricultural sector is going to be really much on the spot there. For that, we have fortunately already instruments in place, and others that are going to come that I didn't mention so much. So it is scratch. We really have, and not only talking about research. I mean, on the research, we've been already working on several projects. I think we recently did a kind of an estimation, and about half of all the budget devoted for Horizon 2020 projects, about half of them are directly or indirectly relevant for climate objectives. So really, or supporting farming systems to become more resilient in the face of climate change, or supporting adaptation of farming systems to climate change. So it's really something on which we are not starting from zero. Similarly, for other aspects, such as the reduction of pesticides, the reduction of the use of basically overall inputs, it's not something that we have just starting now. So these 9 growing seasons, it's true that it's short, but we already have quite a solid knowledge base built under Horizon 2020. Also important to remember what we do under the EIP. Under the EIP, we are really bringing those research results closer to citizens, to farmers where they need it, promoting also these operational groups, and supporting the creation of these more local innovation projects, where really they are looking at concrete examples, concrete challenges, targets, and bringing the actors together to solve them. So for us, these are the types of approaches that work, and also what we want to foster in Horizon Europe, in order to make sure that we indeed accelerate, because we don't have much time. This is also, again, as I said earlier, at the core of the whole idea of the partnership on agroecology. But okay, we can discuss maybe this later on. But yeah, it is something on which we will need concerted efforts from all actors in order to accelerate. It's quite a challenge. It's true.
Yeah. I'm mindful we have a couple of other kind of comments that have come in. However, we did say we would just kind of take. So, should we take one more question, Gerald? Or okay. Yeah. So there's just an observation from someone, Pete Goddard, observing the importance of thinking about both the practical measures as well as kind of the philosophical. So I'm not quite sure that this is necessarily a question, but just kind of an observation of those two very important levels. There is a question from Nicholas who's also observing, we have a very good, strong base that we're building on, which is one of the comments you were making. So building on a very good base of, in this particular instance, Nicholas is talking about organic farming in many countries. So how can the strong common ground between organic and agroecological ideas be built on and synergies fully exploited?
Yeah, that's a good question, of course. I mean, when we talk about, I think I mentioned earlier the importance of also having a good understanding of what agroecology is. I think it's one debate where we cannot, I mean, maybe not enter here because it's quite complex, but I mean, I think it is quite wide agreement that organic farming is a very good example of implementation of agroecological principles. And we definitely, I mean, we are also supporting research projects looking specifically at trying to help the sector solve specific challenges that they have because of the regulation, because of the specific targets and challenges that they have. And we are, of course, very, as I say, very much aware of the whole learning path that the organic sector has followed, and it's something on which we really also want to capitalize, understand how they have broken the silos and the obstacles, because it's a very good example. But I mean, in terms of mixing or putting them together, agroecological and organic farming, I think it's a mutual learning exercise. As I said earlier, agroecology is the way we would like to understand it. It's something that would go beyond the input substitution or the more agronomic aspects. It's something where an approach where we believe can also bring other things to rural areas and to the farming sector. On the social aspects, for instance, and we have to see how collaborating very closely with the organic sector. As far as the partnership on agroecology is concerned, from the outset, we are including the organic sector. We are considering, of course, the different perspectives, and we want to really come to a vision of what we want to do with the partnership, because I think a reality is also that. Okay, we have this target for 25% on organic farming, and we think that by promoting agroecological approaches, we can help those farmers who either want to become organic or those who perhaps don't want to become organic but be more sustainable. Had tools that allow for those all those farmers to find their way. I think it's the good approach, but of course, as I said, this is being discussed and we will see what is the conclusion. But definitely, I mean, it's a very integral part of all the work that we do on agroecological approaches, and it's very much taken into consideration, of course. Yeah. The organic experience, definitely.
Thank you, Susana. I think we will close there. And Gerald, I don't want you to feel left out. I'm sure that there will be many questions for you going forward, and certainly the partners who are presenting some of the material from UNISECO project.
No, that's very well targeted. So